Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this session of the Free Friday Coaching Call. In case you're new here, let me explain a little bit about how these came to be. The amazing and fabulous Mr. Rick Chiha had a history of telling anyone who needed him that he would give them a call and help them with anything that they could possibly need. And over time, that became unsustainable. As we found out when he passed away in October of 2023, and we got a hold of his phone and how many contacts and messages and, and phone calls were in that phone. It became completely unsustainable. So he started doing the Free Friday Coaching Call, which is open to agents from everywhere, all brokerages. We are completely agnostic in that respect, as an opportunity to provide additional guidance, training to agents for whatever they might need. And we have the blessings of being able to invite folks in to speak on what they're the most passionate about. And that is what we are doing here today. We have this on the first and third Fridays of every single month. So today I'm super excited to welcome somebody who I've only recently met in the last, gosh, I want to say month. It feels like that happened really fast, Bree. Happened really fast. She was introduced to me by someone else who I just love and adore, and I'm great friends with. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to let her get started. So this is Bree White. She is first of all, I'm just always amazed by her every time I'm on with her. Before we started this call, I mentioned something I was thinking about, and she was like, "Let me help you with that," which was pretty incredible. So Bree is the founder of two standout brands. Breeze to Keys is her real estate sales business in Florida, and Your Creative Hustle is her marketing business. Is that the correct way to explain it, Bree? Marketing business. She started in real estate working behind the scenes, and she has done everything you can possibly imagine working at a brokerage. I mean, she started from the very bottom, and she's like held every single role all the way through, which speaks to my heart because I've done something very similar in my past. And I think it gives you such an incredible opportunity to see how everything works as you start building and creating. So today, more than 90% of her sales come from social media and local community building. In 2016, she launched the largest Facebook group for REMAX agents. It has nearly 30,000 members. Nearly 30,000 members. 1 in 5 REMAX agents is a part of that community that she's created. Her work has led to packed events, interviews on top podcasts, and she just has a reputation to be the go-to voice for marketing for real estate professionals. After losing her mom in 2020, Bree made a promise to herself to build something meaningful. She took that background in design and branding and social media and created Your Creative Hustle, which is a pretty amazing brand. The company teaches real estate agents and entrepreneurs how to grow their presence, connect with their audience, and turn creativity into strategy. So we are super excited to have Bree here today. And I have so much work to do social media wise. So I was like, I'm so happy that I get to host today's call because I'm really grateful for the opportunity to take notes and learn a lot. So welcome, Bree, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Love that. Great introduction. There's going to be a lot of information, and let's just dive in because I want to ensure that we have enough time for questions because my whole entire goal after this is to stretch those neural pathways in your brain and make your head hurt a little bit. So that way you can then go back and process and start doing beautiful things. So let me share my screen. Okay, and then pop this out. All right, are we good to go? You guys, perfect. Okay, so welcome to one of my favorite classes that I've ever done. It's called Create, Connect, and Convert. And you're going to learn exactly what that means. But I want you to take a second, if you can, and comment anything about social media you would love to learn. That way we can circle back to it if we have time. And Selena can let me know, periodically if there's comment or a question or something. So go ahead, put that in there. Let me know. And then let's dive in. So first and foremost, if you have the ability, I have 2 Facebook groups that I would love to share with you. If you'd like to join, you're more than welcome to. And I will share this again at the end. Your Creative Hustle is open to all small business owners and all entrepreneurs. And then I have one specifically for those that are with EXP. It is a competing group similar to the Remax Creative Group, but specifically for EXP agents. So let's dive in. All right, let me minimize you guys. This is gonna, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so We're going to learn how, why, and give examples today. Number one, you're going to learn how to convert your viewers into clients on social media. Social media is free. It is the most effective way to do this. You're posting anyways, so why not try and strategically do it and turn it into an ROI for your business? And I'm going to give you some examples of each piece of content so that we can go back, start marinating, see how it all works for you, and why each piece of this acronym, I'll give you a little hint there, it's an acronym, of the content is vitally important into gaining traction to your clients. Oh, and my Mac does not like Canva lately. Anyways, moving on. Okay, these are very important stats. You can Google this. They update it every single year. If you are not on Facebook, or if you are a secret agent on Facebook, please start utilizing it to your fullest advantage because it is still the number one platform for social media there is, period. TikTok is actually number 5 and has about half, as you can see, of the usership as Facebook. Regardless of what anyone says, Facebook is number 1. However, YouTube is making some really strong strides lately, and they might surpass them in the next few years. It'll be very interesting to see. So, I want you to keep this in the forefront of your head because it can be exhausting, right? People tell us do this, do that. You have to be successful on all these platforms. You have to have all these followers. I'm here to tell you, you don't. I don't have a massive following. I have a very tight niche and quality following. I have about 4,800 followers on Facebook on my personal page alone. And I have a very high quality of viewership, and that's what you want. So you are always, always going to thrive more on one platform than the rest. And I encourage you to test that theory by looking at someone that you look up to on social media and look at their different accounts across the board and see if you can pinpoint which platform they thrive on and have more followers than their other platforms. So why does all of this matter? What is this all important for? Here's why it matters. Facebook is the most used website, as I said, behind Google and YouTube. It is the most used social media platform, and 68% of Facebook users have an income of above 100,000. Right there. That is hands down why you want to use Facebook. The income thresholds on that platform outweigh every other platform. Okay, so how are you going to start curating and cultivating a very meaningful and impactful social media presence? Well, we're going to use SPICE-T. It's my favorite acronym, and each letter stands for a different style of content. So this is going to enable you to transport your audience from their daily lives and offer a mix of learning, inspiration, and entertainment. The whole point of any social media platform is to keep people on the platform. So if your account can figure out and be strategic on how to keep people engaged, well, guess what? The social media platform is going to reward you and pump your account out to more individuals. So I had a client recently, and I just have to tell this really quick. I didn't know that Facebook sends notifications when you've done such a good job of reaching more of your viewership. They will say, "Good job. We are now pushing your account out to a larger audience because you are up 800% in viewership." I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, so they're making it more of a game to motivate you to want to do better.
It's funny, Bree, that you say that because I got a notification the other day that told me I'd like won a badge for like being most involved on someone else's site that had just joined. They just joined us through EXP, and so I was like always like liking and interacting and whatnot, and it was like congratulations, and I was like I'm winning at life. And I like that they're actually doing this now because it does make you feel good about the
Right?
spend on it, right? We all
100%. That's
so.
so funny. I'm glad you said that. So, my very first piece of advice before we go through all of this is I want each and every one of you to write this down if you can, or tuck it away and remember it. On your personal account, toggle your account over to what's called professional mode. That's the very first thing you're going to do. The reason why you want to change your account over to professional mode is because you can then track your analytics. All right. Without it, you cannot track your analytics. And the point of tracking your analytics is that way you know what type of posts outperform others, how many accounts you're reaching. My whole goal to help every single person on social media is when you use this acronym and you're paying attention to your metrics, you're going to be able to produce less content that lives longer. At the end of the day, you have a business to run. You don't want to be a social media content, manager. What you want is to have high quality content that lives in the algorithm longer. So then you have to produce. And I have a whole other strategy on that. If we have time, I'll tell you there is a methodology to ensuring your posts live longer in the Facebook feed. So, what does SPICE stand for? Right here is the acronym. It stands for storytelling, persuasion, inquisitiveness, conversation, educational, transformational, entertaining, and of course, my absolute favorite, an authoritative expert, because each and every one of you are an expert at what you do, and it's time that the world knows that. Okay, so remember, you have to be authentic to you, right? When you are doing this, I want you to marinate and see how can I blend who I am personally and what I love doing with the professional side of me. If you've noticed, there are companies, and I love using Wendy's as an example. They have turned their social media platform into a person. You build connection with humans first and foremost, not with a company, not with a brand. So figure out how to let people into your world that you are comfortable with, whether you're private or not. You can share sprinkles of things, and it gives the illusion that you are far more sharing than you are. Everything I post is strategic, and everybody thinks they know 100% what's going on in my life, but they truly don't unless they're like my BFF. And that is by design. I build community and I build connection. Okay, so storytelling, what does it mean? Storytelling, I want to focus on these more on the examples. So I'll briefly mention a little bit about the definitions and then we'll spend time on the examples because there is a scientific process to creativity. It's Googleable, which I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds like a word. And you can look at the process. You will go through this every single time that you're starting to find some creativity process. So instead of just selling, because I think we're all fatigued of the just listed, just sold, look how great this is, I won this award. Like, good for you, really happy for you, but I need more substance, right? I need more value add. You're going to story tell and share experiences. When you are in front of people, you story tell and you share your experiences. You're going to share challenges, transformations, anything that can resonate with your audience. That is what is a storytelling example. So here are some prime examples. Some of them may work for you, some of them may not. Use them as a foundation and then curate what resonates with you. Your origin story. Selena did a really great job of sharing a little piece of my origin story. She did storytelling right out the gate. Your personal journey, milestones, struggles. I have seen some really eloquent videos done by other real estate professionals across the country where they pull you into a story of their seller and why they're selling, or they pull you into an emotional story of the home. That is huge. That is a storytelling example. Lessons that you've learned, or highlight customer success stories instead of saying, look at my client, congratulations, they bought a house, and you hold up a sign, like just sold by Breeze to Keys. Tell the story. I mean, a lot of these clients, especially first-time home buyers, they go through a lot just to get to the closing table. Remember to always be real and always be authentically you and genuine, and celebrate the wins in your community. Storytelling equals emotional driven. Remember, we buy in with emotion first, logic second.
Bree, I'm just going to stop for a second. I love what you said because this is something we're working on when we have a buyer or a seller. And the emotion that you're getting them with is for the hope is that someone out there watching is hearing that story of success and then saying, I can now do that as well. right? So
Yeah.
it's not just that you're telling it to be emotional about what they went through, but it's the goal is that someone feels a connection as a result of the emotions that you've created by sharing it. So I love that you said that.
Thank you. And it's 100% true. Each and every one of you is a micro brand, right? You are a pillar in your community and you are someone that others look up to for guidance, suggestions, advice. Be that aspiration and that inspiration for others. Great storytelling always equals deeper engagement, trust, and brand loyalty. When I was going through a very tumultuous time in my life, we had 8 family members pass away within 15 months, and we had one a month for 5 months. The only thing I could do to keep myself grounded was share my story and keep family across, the globe, because we have family in other countries, to put it on Facebook. And I did. And what I learned from that experience is vulnerability goes a lot further than you think. We are all craving that human connection, and whatever that means to you, and however you can be an impact to your community and your followers, lean into that.
Bree,
Persuasion.
I'm
Yes.
sorry to stop you. Anthony, I see you have your hand raised. Is that you want to speak about some? Oh, yeah, it's up. You're like, okay, it's a mistake. Go ahead. Sorry, Bree.
Okay, no problem. Persuasion. This is the art of influencing. You guys are the best salespeople. Let's be honest. We get so many sales calls on a daily basis. My son laughs at me and he's like, "Why are you like this, Mom?" I'm like, "Because I'm sold to all day long." So I understand when someone has a really great way of being persuasive to have me buy in and someone who doesn't. So it combines your emotions, the storytelling, the social proof, and clear calls to action that help you drive your engagement and your conversion rate. So we've all done this with every single buyer and seller. We may not have looked at it from this perspective. So it addresses the pain points and offers solutions, right? You use your emotional appeal, FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. You use joy, you use excitement. Listen, we use the fear of missing out a lot. If there's multiple offers, be like, listen, we have multiple offers. You have to make a decision real quick. Um, Leverage that social proof in a way that's not a look at me, I am the best, the number one top realtor. Use it as a way of I service my community a lot and I have a lot of value add to give. And that leans in with testimonials, creating what I like to call walking, talking billboards, which is basically advocates for who you are as an individual and your brand. And then you create urgency and scarcity with this. Act now, copywriting is vital for persuasive. Copywriting, if you use ChatGPT and there's something you're working on, you can say, write a call to action for me on, you know, how to get someone to click on the website or the landing page for my property. And it also helps you to establish your authority and your credibility. So it has to be clear with a call to action. And I bet you don't even know consciously of the accounts that are using it, and you're like, huh, I kind of want to click on that now. But they persuaded you, didn't they? Inquisitiveness. I have a lot of questions in life. I use this one a lot. I firmly believe that you can say anything you would like to say. It is just how you say it and how you curate the conversation. So I have done very well with curating questions and then letting my comments flow and not really responding until a couple days later. And it's very interesting to run this A and B test to see when you pose a question versus a statement, how it reacts and how long you gain traction for the post. So inquisitive is just basically sparking curiosity. I did a post, goodness, I think it was last year, and I said, do you think it's fair for a buyer's agent to receive $1 as a commission? Because there was a listing in our MLS where they were advocating and saying they were going to pay $1. And I just let the comments go. It was very interesting. The engagement was through the roof on that one. And I didn't share how I felt about it one way or another. I just wanted to know what other people thought. So it gets your audience to think, and that then positions you into what we call thought leadership. And thought leadership is an avenue that you can scale on social media. It does take the longest to scale, but it is the most rewarding because it shows your authoritative expertise on a particular subject matter. So here are a couple of examples. Like I said, ask open-ended questions, teasers, cliffhangers. I just posted a cliffhanger video and post, and people are still actually texting me trying to find out what's going on. People just want to know. We have this human nature of needing like closure, right? And if you don't give people closure, they're like, oh man, I gotta know. Share thought-provoking scenarios in the best positive kind of way, not in the negative kind of way, because that can spiral real quick. Encourage your user-generated content, which means let them respond, let them engage, and then just see where it goes. And then would you rather? I think we've all done these before. Would you rather this house or this house? Those tend to always perform well, but how can you dive a little bit deeper and have more substance than just like, is this one pretty or is that one pretty? Remember, keep it fun, authentic, and engaging. Conversation, this one is great. We do this on a daily basis without even realizing it. I'm sure we've seen some reels or videos where we're like, man, I feel like they're just talking to me. That's really great. Well, how do they do that? And what are some examples that can be used with that? Write like you talk. When you see verbiage on a static post, which is just a graphic, not a video, you will see that there is a correlation with how I speak and how I write. It sounds like me. The inflections and you can get the tone, you can get the spacing. That is all by design. Get people talking with fun and thought-provoking questions, right? Share personal stories. You can share behind the scene moments people love. Oh my goodness, there's this one real estate professional. I think she's like in Virginia. She does what they call ASMR, where she has her little mic and she walks around the house, and one of them she was like hiding behind a plant and she whispers the whole time. It is so funny, and you can't help but watch it. And then when they share the behind the scenes, you're like, oh, that's how you did that? Okay. Behind the scene moments go really far. They want to see natural. They want to see mistakes. Perfection is it's overrated, right? We need to see that you're real and authentic. And then you always, 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 if you don't do any of this stuff and you still stay in your lane with what works for you, please respond and engage to your comments. That is how you build community, and that is how the platform will reward you and pump your content out to more people.
I think, Brie, I'm going to stop you there for a second. That is probably the most missed thing. People think it's about just posting it out there and having that done. And it was interesting because about 2 weeks ago, we had somebody push something out and we all shared and did it at the same time. And I said, if you do nothing else, respond and like and everything, engage, engage, engage. And I got this message later and he was like, man, that's a lot of work. I was like, well, the more you're doing it, the more it's going, right? It's getting out there. And he was like, this is a lot. Like that, it was great because there was so much engagement, but that's what really makes the difference. And
Yeah.
people skip that step all the time. So,
They
so
do. No, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so true. I always think about this, and I don't know why my head goes here, but there was the cartoon How to Train a Dragon. Um, and in social media world, it's How to Train the Algorithm, and it's trainable. It is completely trainable. It's just the consistency and like anything, right? It's like riding a bike. So you have to put in a little bit more effort in the beginning until you get your flow going, and then it's just the maintenance. So the next part of our acronym for SPICE-T is educational. We all do this to some degree. We do it really well in real life with our clients on a one-to-one basis. It's the ability to simplify complex topics to make people understand. So remember to keep this simple and actionable. You're going to provide short, actionable advice for your audience that they can use immediately, right? Short and kind of to the point. If you ever have questions, what I like to do if I'm kind of doubting something that I'm doing, I will put it into ChatGPT and I'll say, shorten this for me. And then I will look at what it is written out for me versus what I originally did, and I will cut and paste and kind of put it together to see how it will flow for how I want the message to come across. How-to guides are great. Listen, this is really incredible lead magnets, and a lot of people aren't doing this. Other industries are doing this, not so much in real estate, but you can provide value by creating one-page how-to guides or free webinars or something in your local community to do value add, and the only thing that they have to provide you is a name and an email address, maybe even a telephone number. We do it at open houses, right? Why aren't we doing it on social media to have lead magnets into our funnels so that way they come to us and we don't have to cold call and do everything else? If you like cold calling, good for you, but I couldn't do it. I tried. It was not for me. Bust myths. I have done really well with this. I pay attention to data, and my husband is an engineer, also a real estate agent, and I always have him check some of my data first to ensure that I have what we call receipts to make sure it's accurate. And when you do videos on that, people will remember it, especially if it's stats and data on your local market of what's actually happening in real time that you can get off the MLS. People will look at you as the authoritative expert, which is the last one we're going to talk about, because you're educating them and giving them value. So these are all some things that you can keep doing. All right, let's move on to the next one for the sake of time. Transformational. Oh, I love this one so much. There's so many different ways to incorporate transformational. Not a singular video is going to have one topic of this acronym. You are going to do storytelling with educating, with transformation built into it, or it's going to be entertaining. They're all going to intertwine. And my whole purpose for each and every one of you on this is that as you're scrolling on social media for the next week or so, you're building that awareness. You're getting acclimated with, okay, this video, I leaned into it and I watched it to the end, but why? Was it the storytelling? Was it because it was storytelling and transformational? Just the very first step of anything is building an awareness, right? And then you can grow from there. So, transformational, it helps you inspire, educate, and empowers your audience. Empowering your audience is the key. They will build such a bond and a relationship with you if you help them feel better about themselves. So, anytime I share a story about me, I leave a very nice section at the bottom in the closing to put it back on the viewer, to put it back on how they can interpret it into their life and incorporate it. And those posts always perform very, very well. So this is showing real results, customer success stories, not just like, look at my client, they bought a house, but give me depth. Give me some meaning behind it. Pull me into the story. I want to root for them and help them win. Your business growth, what were your struggles along the way? You have all had something you have endured to get to where you are today. Pull me into that story so I can relate to it and use it as aspiration in my life. Testimonials and case studies. That is definitely social proof. I talk about testimonials and case studies in myself. I actually just posted my 90-day stats on social media, which because I was really surprised. I didn't expect it to be that high, but I'm almost at 400,000 accounts that I have reached in the last 90 days. It is mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. And I was like, that is so cool. Teach step-by-step growth strategies. What is the growth strategy to buy a home? Where do you start? When we get first-time home buyers, a lot of them are kind of like, well, I don't know what to do first. You could create an entire campaign around building your credit up, monitoring your credit, getting ready to shop around for lenders. Be that person for your audience. And remember, you have to be real. It has to be authentic to who you are as an individual and relatable. It has to always lean into value add. Remember, you are the guide, not the hero. There is an entire book by Donald Miller. Love it. It is so good. It's called Story Brand, and it talks about how to create your entire system of marketing around a story, just like they would in the movies. So if you're familiar with Star Wars, Yoda is the guide and Luke Skywalker is the hero. So Yoda leads Luke Skywalker to his destiny. And that's what you are to your clients. You are their guide to their own individual destiny. It's not about us, it's about them. Entertaining. I love this one. I have so much fun with it. I pull my husband into this. And again, because he is an engineer first and foremost, he does not like my impromptu. So our latest video was very impromptu because I needed a public facing video for something, and I only had one that wasn't. And I was like, oh, we have to do a video real quick. And he's like eating in the background with a plate, and he just has like ad lib into it. It is so funny. When I
His
go ahead.
his face the whole time was cracking me up. That was what was funny. He wasn't even really having to say anything. He was just sitting there like, "Why are you making me do this?" And that drew me in. I was like, I could see it on his face, and he was like, "I'm just trying to eat my breakfast here, Brie." Like that was it. And but it drew me in for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes you laugh, right? And when you laugh, guess what you're doing? You're releasing those happy hormones. So if you can create content that release those endorphins or that oxytocin or whatever it is, they're going to have this fuzzy, warm, and lovey feeling towards your content, and they're going to want to see more. There's a lot of psychology in this, a lot. So remember, keep it fun and engaging, and it's completely designed to capture attention. So you're going to make your audience laugh when you can, because I'm sure you make people laugh at some point in your life. You're not super serious at all times. Show the real unscripted moments. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I like to do stuff just to see my husband's reaction. And because he's not as much on social media like I am, I will strategically share things to his page and see how long it takes for him to see it. Like I just posted a plant expo that is coming next weekend where there's like rare plants, and I want him to like take me for Mother's Day and our anniversary to go buy a plant. I don't know. So those unscripted moments go really far. Unexpected chaos. I will literally do posts that will say, how long do you think it will take for Kenny to see this? And then people will just start commenting and be like, because they're bought in now. They want to see how long it takes them. I had him go back and he looked at stuff that was, I kid you not, from like a year ago. And I was like, where have you been? You're like that person that likes all like the photos, and you're kind of like creeped out, like, why is this person liking everything at once? And then he's laughing. He's like, why did I miss all this? I was like, I don't know. Go on social media more and you'll see it. Use skits and reenactments. A lot of those couples that you see, or those friends, or even just individuals, and you think it's impromptu, it's something that actually happened, but then they reenacted it. So it brings the humor and it brings the humanity into our everyday lives of things that we just see all the time. Embarrassing and unexpected business moments. I did really well with a video once where I made a boo-boo. It was one of the very few boo-boos I ever made. And unfortunately, I missed a part of a contract clause. It was in the height of everything that we were going through. And I was selling a furnished home that they snuck in and never verbalized, never said anything to me. It was listed furnished on the MLS, that the buyer wanted it unfurnished. Thankfully, it was only a 2-2 condo. Closing day comes, the buyer's agent calls me. She goes, we have a problem. I'm like, what do you mean we have a problem? She goes, there's still furniture in here. I said, okay, no problem. Went to the unit. I put stuff on Facebook for free. I said, you got to come pick it up in the next whatever hours. I got trash bags. I had everything out of there. And then I had a junk company come at the end of the day at about 4 o'clock to pick up whatever was left over. And the buyer walked in at 5 o'clock and he's like, I didn't think you were going to get it done. And I was like, I did it. So what did I do? Drenched in sweat and looking like disheveled, I had my husband record a video. And I put that video on social media, and I was completely transparent. And I said, I messed up. I made a boo-boo. And this is how I rectified it. And now all is good. People want to see that because perfection is overrated. My favorite one, authoritative expert. This positions you as a trust leader in your industry, right? In your industry, in your field, in your community. It's by sharing valuable insights, whatever those insights are to you, expertise, and proven strategies. This is where metrics comes in. So everything I'm teaching you here, and this is the truth of social media. Social media is science plus art. That's it. It's science plus art. With that being said, there's philosophy into it, there is psychology, and there is a ton of metrics, right? So it helps you, authoritative expertise or expert, it helps you build credibility. It educates your audience, and then they're grateful because you gave them an item of value they did not have prior, and it establishes you as the go-to resource for whatever your niche is, wherever your community is, and that will generate more business. By doing this exact thing, 90% of my business on my real estate company comes from social media. 90%. Now, any given year, it varies, right? 40 to 60% is peer-to-peer agent referrals, which is huge. That means that I am an authoritative expert within my industry where my peers know I'll get the job done for their clients. That is a level of, I just didn't think it was ever going to come to that, but it's a level of knowledge and expertise that can really go far. And whatever your knowledge and whatever your expertise is, I want you to dive deep and start cultivating it because it is unique to you and you will thrive when you lean into your own unique genius. So here are some examples of authoritative expert. Provide data back advice. Remember we talked about metrics go really far with people, but you also have to keep it entertaining, right? Because we've all had that professor at some point in our school where we're like, oh my gosh, they're so boring. It's good information. I just can't listen. Debunk those myths, those misconceptions. There's a ton of misconceptions floating around in the real estate industry. There always has been. Be that person to help people understand. Break down complex topics into simple solutions. Remember, most individuals are on an 8th grade reading level, right? So don't go too deep. Keep it simplistic, but still debunk those myths. Address common questions that you receive in your community. What are the common questions you have? Show your expertise by sharing your wins, your failures, and your insight. And post expert opinions on industry trends, challenges, and predictions. And I know we have all seen this last one done it in a variety of different ways. Lean into and build an awareness around the ways that resonate with you, that feel most authentic, and the ways that don't. And remember, be confident. This is why I say find your unique genius and your authenticity because you will feel the most at ease and the most natural, which will then give you the ability to be clear and concise on your messaging. So remember, SPICE-T is an acronym and it works by blending emotion, psychology, and strategy. This framework is going to make your content irresistible, impactful, and action-driven. This time last year, I was averaging about 24,000 accounts on Facebook. 24,000. January of last year, I was averaging about 12,000 accounts on Facebook. Now I average anywhere between 100 and 200,000 accounts per 28 days on Facebook. It is just like running a mailer system, okay? You have to start somewhere and be consistent, just like you were with those mailers that you sent out to those neighborhoods. It works, but it is a long game, okay? The beauty of it is you are going to evolve, you're going to shift, you're going to change, and every single step along the way, you will have a new aha of what is more authentic to you and how you stand out. So I encourage you to just lean in and look at it as a journey and not as a task because creativity is abundance. You will never run out of it. And it does give you those feel good oxytocin and just, warm, fuzzy feelings because you've done something not as stressful sometimes in our business. So, again, my very last thing before we open up with questions, if you did miss it, I do have 2 Facebook community groups that I currently run. I have recently left Remax and have joined Empire Builders. Thanks for having me. Today is my second day, so thank you guys with the brand.
Welcome.
Thank you. So, Your Creative Hustle, if you have friends that are not in real estate and you found value in this group, please join that. It is open to everyone. And then the EXP group, let's grow this bad boy because I want to see your creativity and I want to see you thrive. So, I'm going to stop sharing screens and answer some questions.
Awesome. I want to start with something that came to my mind as you were going through this. So years ago, and Anthony knows this, I used to run a team in New York for someone else. And we actually hired a marketing expert at one point to come in and take a look at our social media because we just weren't getting much from it. And she came back, she reviewed everything, and she sat down with us and she said this, and it's so impactful because you mentioned something about it. And I think this is a common problem across agents everywhere is she said, you are too transactional.
Yes.
Everything on our Facebook and our social was just listed, coming soon, open house, just sold, and that was literally it. And she said, there people are not getting an experience of you as humans, and people connect with the emotion and the human that they want to hire. And all it looks like is all we care about is selling houses. That's all we're posting about. And so she gave us all these examples. It was so much like what you said. And she was like, be authentic, show that you're out in the community, do the mess ups. And it's funny that you said that because this week, I don't know what it is on TikTok, but literally everyone is posting videos of reenactments of not being able to get the lockbox open. Anybody been there before where you're like, your client is behind you and you're like, it's not opening, or they gave me the wrong code. And it's funny and it's engaging and it's real, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting that we, for the most part, are still putting stuff out there that's very flat in that sense and not becoming an authentic person to who we are and creating that content out there. The other thing that I loved about what you said was the consistency. Right? I think probably everyone here struggles with that on social media. It's like we're busy, we're not doing it, we're not responding, whatever that looks like. And I loved what you said. Treat it just like a lead gen, just like anything else. If you're spending 2 hours a day doing outbound calls, block it on your calendar and say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes or an hour a day doing my social media, responding, posting, creating, all of that stuff. So it's just another like, is anyone here familiar with habit stacking? Casey and I were talking about it last night, and it's a concept that I love, which is instead of feeling overwhelmed by all the things that you have to do that you want to create habits, for those of you out there that have similar issues, like I just want to be consistent with my nighttime and daytime face care. I don't know what I'm tired at night and I'm like, going to bed, my makeup, don't even care. Right. So, but I'm like, no, we're going to be better about it. As I inch closer and closer to 50, I'm like, I'm going to get rid of
1% better each day, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking about this last night because she has been so dedicated to her workout routine, right? Very dedicated to it. Now it's like just part of her life. And we talked about where else can we stack another habit. So you start with one, whatever it is that you're consistent. And when you get into the habit of doing it, you stack one more until that becomes very consistent, and then another. So think about social media in the same way, right? Like, okay, let's just start with one thing I'm going to post every day. And
Yeah.
then then it's like, okay, now I'm going to respond to everything, like things like that. So anyway, I'm going to open it up to questions. We do have some in the chat that started pretty early on, which was some you addressed. We have Stacy says cross posting at the same time to save time. Can you speak to that?
Ooh,
I
this is a
spend
good one.
so much time like uploading. It drives me crazy. I lost my voice. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So question, do you know if is your account on professional mode yet or no?
It is, so I can share it to some pages, but I mean
But
like
can you track your analytics? Or are you looking at the back end to see how it performs?
I don't really look at that. It says I'm in professional mode
Okay, perfect. So
or
here's what you
professional
can do.
dashboard.
Perfect. So you do have it. So what you can do, and you may not know this, is you can schedule posts. So
That's what I
here's
need to do.
my strategy of what I like to do. You're going to schedule a post if you don't have the time. You always want to be organic unless you're using Meta Business Suite where it can post on your behalf. Schedule it out on your personal page. Don't use one of these third-party syndicated like schedulers because it's going to get flagged and you will not reach as many people. Sadly, that's why Meta created the Business Suite for the postability there.
How do I schedule it? Is it under Ads Manager?
So you're
No.
going to go in like you're actually going to create a post, right? Like even if you want to test it out, turn it to the little lock and key so it's just you and no one can see it. You just have to remember to put it back when you're ready. And then instead of posting now, there'll be an option to schedule.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I recommend Monday through Friday, preferably Monday through Thursday. 7 a.m. is always a good time to schedule because people are just waking up. And what do? We have to see what we missed on our phone when we were sleeping, duh. So people are, they'll see it in the morning, then it'll gain traction, which then pumps it back out in the afternoon. If you post late in the evening, test it out. A lot of times it doesn't work. And Saturday and Sundays, I never post on Saturday and Sunday unless I know wholeheartedly it's going to gain traction to Monday, because we are now finally back to living our lives and being out and doing what we do in the communities with our families, etc. on Saturday and Sunday. So get more of an awareness around what works for your particular algorithm. And then don't be afraid to experiment in the beginning and say, okay, well, I want to try this, but I don't know if it's going to reach as far as I want it to. And that's okay, because it's all data, right? And data's good. It's kind of like running like that 5th grade science fair experiment with our social media.
I love that. And guys, I do encourage you to go in and look at the analytics, because as you're starting this out, you want to see what people engage with the most, right? Like what's happening. And the only way to do that is to go back and see it. And for those of you that know me, you know how much I love analytics and numbers. So I'm going to always speak to that. Okay, let's see. Andy, you had more interactivity from followers. Do you feel like we addressed that? I feel like we got into that whenever we were inside the presentation. But do you want to come off mute and see if there's anything else? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm just listening. Thanks.
Okay, no. Okay, let's see. Anthony says, I'd like to learn how to create posts that reach people outside of my follower list.
Powerful. Agreed. So right now I'm averaging 66% of my content is reaching non-followers. If you're in professional mode, start looking at, it'll tell you the breakdown of how many posts are reaching X amount of followers versus non-followers. You can test your algorithm with a couple of hashtags if you want. Are your posts for friends only, or do you make it public for your post?
I was specifically referencing my Instagram posts.
Okay.
And they are public. I put hashtags, but I don't think those even work anymore. But I just looked at the analytics, and every single view is from a follower.
Yeah. Instagram, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on with Instagram, but nobody is happy with it right now. They must have done a massive shift or change, and it is not the Instagram that we used to have. Even for me, I feel a little defeated on there. I had such a good flow going, and I thought it was just me, like maybe I got blacklisted or I did something to my account, but it's across the board for everyone. I would test out, here's a strategy that you could try. I think people on Instagram are leaning into stories more. So test this and see how it works. Take your post or your reel and then share it into your story.
Okay.
And see how that performs. Because I have noticed when I do that, I get a little bit more traction, and then I get discoverability from people I didn't necessarily know were paying attention. And I'd be curious, just reach out to me and let me know how that works after you've done it for a couple weeks.
Can I ask one
Yeah.
practical bit of advice? Is just actually a post that I want to do now, with all of the advice that you've given, which is excellent, by the way. Thank you very much. There's a new Italian restaurant opening up the street in my community. What you have to know about my community is there's an Italian restaurant on every block. It's ridiculous. So I want to make some type of post, but I don't want to be negative towards somebody who's trying to start their own business. So like, what would you, like if you were in that situation, what type of post would you make to bring attention to the fact that you know what's going on in your community, but also, trying to be a little fun about it without bashing the business that's trying to open and get off the ground? Because actually I want to be a supporter of that business or any business in my community.
So I'm Italian and love Italian food, that you can never have enough of it, right? And I swear my Nona sauce was the best, but I think everyone says that. So what I would do personally, and spin this into whatever is the most authentic to you, is I would probably go out with my camera and be like, do you love Italian as much as I do? Like, you have this, you have this, you have that, and then reference the radius, right? How far away it is. And that could be like your introductory one. And then you could do a video for each and every one and see like maybe your taste testing, and where, like, I would wear my EXP shirt or something, because it's like a soft sell, so that way they know you're with real estate, but you're not talking about it. and see how those land, because there's a lot of accounts where it's all about foodies or it's all about events that are going on in local communities, and you could be the one that maybe each month you pick a different topic, and this month you're starting off with all the Italian restaurants.
Right.
I think
Got it.
that sounds very fun.
Yeah, I want to see those.
All right, I'm gonna give it a spin.
Let's see. Guys, anybody else have a question? Anything that they want to talk about? I feel like I took so many notes, and I even have your presentation. I looked at it yesterday, but I'm still like, okay, Selena, got to work on this one. You know,
I
anybody have
think, well, everyone's thinking, I just want to share this with you too. The biggest fear that I hear, and I was even there, is we are conditioned to think that our social media and our branding and our marketing has to be for everyone. And that is no longer the case anymore. There's so much noise out there that you have to go deep and authentic to who you are, and have the courage and the confidence to know you are not for everyone and everyone is not for you. And that's okay. And in the beginning, there's a lot of times, and I even saw it on my accounts, when you start leaning more into your authenticity, it triggers people. And that's nothing about you, that's about them, right? Whether it's deflecting, or they're just scared, or they're nervous, or you're evolving and they don't know what to make of that. So just lean into the security of, you know what you're doing, you are being authentically you, and your tribe will find you. And those who don't want to be part of your tribe, that's okay. And those who do, come on, let's have some fun.
I have a question.
Hi, Jeff.
Come upstairs. Hello. Sorry, I'm finishing up. I got a late start. What's like your thought like on as far as business posts and like cheesy? Because I'm noticing there's so many cheesy posts or stories. I mean, it's great, right? Is that for views to get going? But then you look at some of these people's sales, and they're doing like 2 or 3 sales. Their social media is going crazy, and they're like kind of niching themselves as this goofball. So like I like being goofy too, but I don't want to niche myself, as that. So that's kind of like what I've been seeing on social media, and they get a ton of views, but they don't have any sales. I don't understand it.
So maybe they're not really wanting to be in real estate, or maybe they're new. If you look at my stats for the last 8 months, were at last year. I didn't really work for 8 months last year. I had some personal things with my disabled brother, and that was my focus. So for me, real estate wasn't in the forefront, right? But I think it's interesting that they're still trying to keep brand awareness. And for you, you like being funny, but there's also this duality where there's something else about you that you're still discovering, or whatever it is you're trying to lean into. I think that there is a way to blend your goofiness with your expertise, and do it in a way that's not pushing someone down to raise yourself up. We never want to talk about someone's like, oh, lack of production, or this or that.
Yeah, no. I'm just looking at the analytics of it, and then you niche some people niche themselves. They get a lot of followers. So we don't, but we do a lot of sales. So I'm like, how can I boost that up a little to get to the cold market, right? Because the warm market for social media is, for us and me personally, is really good. A lot of my deals, but they're through my warm market already. So I'm trying to, get myself out there to get cold market people to come, take a look or give me a call. So a lot of your stuff that you said today was great. So I guess the question is like, what would the percentage be of just goofiness? Hey, come get ready with Jeff. He's going on Caravan, versus, versus
I
like.
think you got to run some A and B testing. Run some test runs, come up with the ideas of what you want to experiment. Spend some time. You know what I would do too, and it sounds like, I don't know if you've done this or not, an agent avatar is really powerful. So mine is called Tiana, like Princess Tiana. I know it's cheesy, but that's my girl. So I would do an agent avatar specifically for your social media, and base it off of who your current audience is. And then from there, do a mind map of like, okay, I want to experiment this. I'm not sure how it's going to land, but the whole goal is to push my algorithm to non-followers. And how am I going to scale that, right? Because it's all about the little wins. It sounds like you're doing a really great job, and I'm sure people come up to you in real life and they're paying attention to your social media and be like, man, I saw what you posted on social. That was really good. But then it's, how do I get someone to pick up the phone and call me that's never met me before?
I just want to make sure, does everybody
Awesome,
here
thank you.
know what A/B testing is? I want to make sure, like, okay,
I
Andy,
don't.
I like to put it in perspective of like thinking about you as an agent as well. So like we script practice and we do an A/B testing. And when you do that, and when you're an agent and you're scripting, it's like maybe you have 2 hours of cold calling. You will use 2 different scripts and see which one people were the most receptive to. And that's the one that you would transition to, right? And the only way to know that is to test 2 of them at the same time. And it's the exact same concept in social media, like what Bree said. You can have 2 different like avatars, like perhaps it's Jeff how he is every single day, but if he wanted to test, hey, if I act a little goofy on this next one, that's my B test, and I'm going to see, do I get more exposure, more clicks, more engagement, and getting myself out there. So same concept of doing an A/B script versus doing it in social media. So
And if you're sure, I'm glad you said that. Thank you for that. And if you're struggling with it, ChatGPT is your best friend. You can put whatever the verbiage is or the graphic in that you want and say, can you please give me an A/B test for this? If it's a video, you can use the same video, but change the cover. So your hook, which is, how people read to pull them in to watch the video, maybe tweak it ever so slightly. So if you put your original hook into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you write me a couple different variations, run a test with those and see how they perform. And Facebook on the back end, once you're in professional mode, especially if you're trying to boost and run ads, I definitely recommend doing organic first and then graduating. But if you're at that point, they will offer the ability, do you want to run this variation of the verbiage that you're doing? Thanks to AI. AI is so great, but it's also a little creepy.
awesome.
I
Well,
had
guys, we're
I had one last question.
ahead.
Why do you wait to engage or reply on comments?
Oh, that is such a good question, girl. I'm so glad you said that. Here's why. So, not a lot of people know this. All right, this is our secret. No, I'm kidding. I tell everyone this. Facebook has a system with the algorithm, right? So right now I have 3 things that I'm gradually starting to go back. So what you're going to do is you're going to post something like we talked about Monday through Friday, preferably early in the morning if you're scheduling it out so it can like hit the morning people, the afternoon people, the early evening people. You're not going to comment. You're going to wait. Wait until those notifications of interactions stop. The reason why you wait is because Facebook is already pushing your content out into the algorithm. The same thing for any of the other platforms. It's delivering it the way it should. Now, when the notifications stop and like people aren't responding, they're not reacting, that's when you go in, never on a Saturday or Sunday. So if it's starting to fall off on Saturday and Sunday, hold until Monday. And then you're going to start responding to your comments. If there's something that's very impactful and you're like, oh, I just have to respond to it right away, go for it. But you're not going to respond to all of them. And here's what it does. When you let the algorithm do whatever the algorithm's going to do and pump your content out to individuals, and then it starts to fade down, by you going back and strategically starting to respond to everyone, guess what it does? It says, oh, wait, this post isn't done yet. It's getting more traction, and it pumps you back out to more people. And that's how you're going to get your content to live for 5, 10, 15, 28 days in an algorithm, which then allows you to produce less content, but high quality content.
You just blew my mind.
Oh, sorry.
Like, I'm just like,
Pattern recognition is my gift in this world. Sorry.
okay, we have one last question and then I have to wrap
Sure.
it up. Just be aware of everybody's time. She says, how do you run ads and how do you create a custom audience for an ad? Oh, that might be a longer conversation. How quickly can you do it, Bree?
Yeah, so I wouldn't do ads until you've got your organic down packed, because then you're going to hurt yourself, and then the platforms are going to say, oh, wait, you're only valuable if you run an ad. So what I would do is scale your organic first, then lean into boost. When I've done a test run on boosting, quotes do really well, guys. Quotes is where it's at. The last one I did ran it for 5 days. I threw $60 at it, nothing major. Threw $60 at it, $10 a day, or maybe it was $50, doesn't matter. But I threw $10 a day at it for about 5 days. I got 1,100 reactions and 117 shares. And then from there, when you graduate from Boost, then you start running ads. It's an evolution. So that would be my best advice.
Yeah, when running the ads, I've been having an issue with selecting groups. They were not letting me, select people of certain ages or I guess demographics.
Have you toyed around with audiences that are similar to your following? Have you
Okay, I'll try that.
try that and run some testing with that to see how that works? Because then it has like a familiarity with what your algorithm's already set for.
Okay, thank you.
Love that. Well, Bree, I can't even say it. I'm literally over
Oh,
and
One
Laura,
last,
go
or
ahead.
Ted, oh no, he was saying, Ted, did you have something real quick or no?
I cannot thank you enough for today. It was an incredible class. I feel like everybody took away something. And I mean, well, Laura is my assistant and she's going to be very busy later. So I'm like, help me. So appreciate you taking the time to pour into us. And guys, if you get the opportunity, join her group so that we can help build that up, especially now that she's, on this side.
Yeah, and especially because I want to see how y'all do. Like, you can't leave me hanging.
So I so appreciate you all. Have a great rest of the day and be consistent. Just go out there and be consistent. Sorry, that's the coach
Thank
part of
you
me.
so much.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks again, Bree.
Hey guys.
Bye.